Get ready for some upbeat banter, plenty of laughs, and a whole lot of love for the game and our team. This is Buds and Blue Jays. And now your hosts, Riley McConnell and Jesse Burrell.
Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 17th, and welcome to episode 171 of Buds and Blue Jays. You get a little late-night Blue Jays talk here on this Wednesday evening. We had some time to digest the series against New York, and on paper, Riley, winning 2 out of 3 against the first-place New York Yankees coming into our barn looks pretty good, but obviously a little sour taste in our mouth after the game here today. We'll get into all that and so much more on our episode, including Daulton Varshos finally having a power breakout. Alejandro Kirk finally had a good game. We got the return of Jordan Romano, Danny Jansen, Eric Swanson, and so much more to come on this episode. But first, everyone, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you are not following us on our social media, please make sure you do so, as we're posting out Blue Jays content all season long. And anywhere you can find Buds and Blue Jays, you can find our podcast. But first, Riley, how are we feeling? Big series win at home, finishing up a 6-3 homestand against the New York Yankees. How are we feeling after this one?
Jesse, it was...
He's so excited he froze. Look at that. Well, I will say, vibes are usually good after we win a series like this, but it never feels good to lose that last game. It always does leave a sour taste in your mouth, especially with the sour taste. But go ahead, Riley, you're back.
Jesse, it was extraordinarily important for us to win this series. You made a bold prediction that we will not go below 500 after the Yankees series. So that right now is still true. We won the series. The war is far from over. There's a 3-way tie in the American League East. It's still very, very early in the season, but these divisional matchups are more important than anything. Plus, the Yankees have a red-hot team. We absolutely neutralized the top of their order. Our guys got on base, and, you know, we actually had some clutch moments in this series, super important. And, Jesse, listen, man, Game 3, I'm going to be honest, I told you before, I napped between innings 4 and 7.
Sure, good baseball nap.
The first at-bat I woke up to was Daulton Varshos' second home run of the game, and I half asleep. Watched it, my eyes kind of still open, and I watched the ball fly into right center field, and I pretty much yelled, like, with the ball, like, get up, get out of here. Jesse, that was all fine and dandy. We still lost that ball game. The wheels have fallen off more than once this season. We talk about, you know, it always does leave a sour taste when you lose the finale. I know we won the series, but winning the last game of the series does feel very good, especially now we're heading out onto the road. Who knows what's going to happen after this as we have some interleague play. The wheels fall off the bullpen. We saw Romano coming in game 2. He was great. We saw Swanson come in game 3, the finale, and he couldn't get the job done. Questionable move to bring in Tim Meza. It was his ball game to keep things going. And he faltered, man. At 0 for 12, Aaron Judge hitting the game-winning RBI off him, man. It sucked. And at that point, it was kind of like, man, like, you knew there's no way he's going 0 for 13 in this series. Like, he's played so well in Rogers Center. Like, why does it have to be the last at-bat of the series? Why couldn't he just had a solo shot in the second at-bat of game 1? Who knows, man? Baseball works in mysterious ways. Look, we're looking okay after this Yankees victory of the series, not the ball game today. But Jesse, I'll go back to what I said. Daulton Varshos, 2 home runs in this game today.
Yeah, he's back, baby.
Tremendous power displayed on this homestand. Jesse, let's talk about Daulton Varshos because we haven't given him a ton of love, but I mean, hey, he was instrumental in the offense in the game today. We don't pull off the win, but still, we feel pretty good. I mean, a lot of upside in Daulton Varshos. We haven't seen the power since he was a Diamondback, and is the Diamondback power back? I don't know, man. It's refreshing to have a multi-home run game for a change.
Riley, Daulton Varshos did several great, amazing things in this series. Not only did he hit the 2 home runs, he smacked a double against a lefty. He was part of a double steal in this game. He also made a great diving catch in left field. What was your favorite Daulton Varshos moment from this series?
I as much as I really enjoyed the home runs, I think the option to defensive substitute him in the second game. Sorry, it was Kiermaier who was put into the game to play center field. We did a double switch, taking Davis Schneider out. The center fielder at the time, Daulton Varshos, moves to left field. And I believe it was the first batter. Low line drive to left field. Daulton Varshos, tremendous jump. First of all, tremendous jump.
Which is such a tough play for an outfielder to get to, those low line drives like that.
It was great. He played it perfectly. I love Daulton Varshos' defense. He's a tremendous athlete. Base pass. He did some good base running in the series. Great defense, and obviously it's nice to see him get those extra base hits. It's well needed, man.
Daulton Varshos made 11 non-routine outfield plays this year, according to StatCast, which is by far the most an outfielder has made through 19 games in Major League Baseball this year. That's one every other game where Varshos just casually makes a non-routine play. He is so good, Riley. And I'm saying this going forward. I want him in the lineup every single day now. I do not care who is in the lineup, who is pitching against us. Like, if it's a lefty on the mound, it's time to put Kevin Kiermaier's ass on the bench. Let's put Daulton Varshos in center. Hit him ninth if you have to. But he hit off lefties in this series. One of his home runs, I think a second one today, came off a lefty. And Riley, my favorite thing that Daulton Varshos did this series was in game 2. He went around to square around to bunt. He didn't bunt. He pulled it back. The next pitch to a double down the line for extra bases for Daulton Varshos. I am seeing some great things. And if this is the guy we think we're getting when we traded for him from Arizona, this could be really big for the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays who really need some offensive thump right now. So thumbs up, Mr. Varshos.
Absolutely a thumbs up. Yeah, and we need him because we still might not look good from the trade. However, Varshos is making it look a little less lopsided in Arizona's game, and we need him to be good. And yeah, honestly, Jesse, when it comes to who's playing in the outfield, I wouldn't mind Kiermaier only playing 95 games this year if the other guys around, some of the bench guys, you see Davis Schneider can play left field. I wouldn't mind Kiermaier playing less than 115 games or whatever a good number is. And
you saw his at bat in game 1 today, right? For Kevin Kiermaier. That tells you all you need to know from how Kevin Kiermaier's done this season.
Well, when Gil was throwing, and he's a guy, he's a young, inexperienced arm who he's a fireballer. He's going to throw heat, and he's going to come at you Randy Johnson style and do kind of an intimidating fashion. Our Blue Jays hitters spit at a ton. And I mean, Gil was pitching a lot out of the zone, but in this series, I want to first credit the plate discipline to our Blue Jays hitters. They drew a ton of walks, multi-walk games for guys like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., George
Springer as well.
Bichette had some walks as well. Actually, make that 2 multi-walk games for both Springer and Guerrero Jr. That's pretty good, man. It'll really help the on-base percentage, and it gets runners on for our guys like Justin Turner and I guess Daulton Varshos now. But Kevin Kiermaier really did not need to take one swing. He saw 5 balls in that at-bat. He swung at ball 5. And he goes down swinging on strike 3. That was a tough look, man. I know you were at that game. I was watching it from the comfort of my own home. I don't know where it looked worse. He was behind the ball anyways. It was up and out of the zone. Like, Kiermaier has not looked great at the plate. A lot of, he can get the infield hits for sure. Like, that's always nice. But he's really no threat to have. If we're talking between a guy like Varshos hitting in the order or Kiermaier, like, give me a Daulton Varshos. I know that Kiermaier might have a tiny bit more on him defensively, but if you want to call Daulton Varshos basically the best defender in baseball not to win a Gold Glove, I wouldn't call you crazy.
I could believe with that. I was at that game, as you said. I was at the WestJet flight deck. I was drinking my beer. I was eating a hot dog, having a good time. I've never screamed red light louder, and I was 400 feet away, obviously, in dead center field to Kevin Kiermaier, but it was a tough watch. And even in game 3 today, when he got the start, he was doing a lot of those like little half swings where he gets the swing started early and then tries to check. And yes, the home plate umpire did make some bad calls against Kevin Kiermaier, but still, when you're taking those half swings and you're almost trying to cheat at the plate to get it, you're really in a slump there. And we got to do something to wake up Kevin Kiermaier's bat. So I'd like to see more of that going forward. But Riley, I want to talk about what happened in game 3 of this series today, and that is what happened in the bullpen. And I'm going to start with a question. Does this loss fall on John Schneider, or was this just player performance for the bullpen? Tell me what you think.
So here's what I think. We're obviously in the highest leverage of game situations. Just for reference, I know you know this. For those of you who hadn't watched the game, it's 4-2 at this point. It's a save situation. We used Romano the night before, and I get he's just coming back off the IL. Maybe we don't want to overuse him, but that is a save situation. I mean, I don't know who's available, who's not available, but for me, that screams closer. Is right. Eric Swanson goes into that game also coming off the IL, I might add. This is the first performance of the year for Romano. He pitched fantastic.
Yeah, 12 pitches is really all he threw. And the double was tough. He gave up to Verdugo, but Verdugo owns Romano. So, not taking much from that. But go on.
There was a lot of good takeaway from Romano's. And then Eric Swanson just did not look like Eric Swanson.
And he didn't look good in his rehab assignment either. I want to point that out.
Because he needs to locate his pitches to be effective. Obviously, he's that kind of guy that lives for soft contact.
Yeah, and look, Eric Swanson too. He's had a hell of a spring. He almost lost his son in his spring training accident, right? And trying to come back and pitch, and then your first time back in a big league mound after going all that is to try to get a save against one of the best lineups in the world, honestly, and not able to get it done. You almost got to ease him in. If Jordan Romano was not available, which I guess coming back from IL makes sense. Jimmy Garcia pitched a lot in this series, especially in the first 2 games and in that last series too. So I guess he wasn't unavailable. Chad Green would have been the perfect guy to throw there, but apparently we found out after the game that he's dealing with shoulder soreness, which my question is, if Chad Green was dealing with shoulder soreness, sure you knew that the day before when you sent down Nate Pearson and DFA'd Mitch White, you could have done something there because this seemed prime for Nate Pearson to come in and shut the door here, and he got sent down ultimately, and we can touch on that if you want to, but I really feel like John Schneider mismanaged this game, and if he managed that bullpen use better, even leaving Tim Meza in too long to face Judge, you had Bowden Francis warmed up in the pen. Bowden Francis didn't see the field at all this series. You're going to leave Tim Meza in, who Aaron Judge has destroyed Tim Meza, and Tim Meza's not even 100% right now either. Seemed like a very dumb move, and the thing that drives me nuts about this is one of those things that seem like it's controllable, that you have power over and you can own, and if you're not performing ultimately, you're going to lose, and it's going to backfire, and that's what happened here.
The last batter Meza should have faced was Juan Soto. Great. It should have been Bowden Francis up against Judge, and then we go from there. Who knows what happened?
Look, he is a rookie, I get it, but still, you're going to play the platoons. That curveball will go well against Aaron Judge. That was absolutely should have been the move.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Meza, the biggest home run he's given up was Judge's 61st, I think, to Ty Maris, right?
The record breaker one.
Yeah, 61 or 62, whatever it is, notorious. He's hit off Tim Meza before. And like I said, Judge was due. And I don't like the matchup, Jesse. I know you don't like the Meza Judge matchup either. It doesn't look good. And it showed at the end of this ball game. In 4 runs in the bottom of that 9th when we held the lead and looked so good throughout that ball game. And then it all comes tumbling down within an inning.
Yeah, that's where it really felt tough with this Blue Jays team. And look, off day today, we're going to San Diego. The bullpen should be fresh. On paper, our bullpen should be one of the best in baseball. Did you know the Blue Jays bullpen ERA is bottom 5 in all of baseball right now at this point in the season? I think a lot of that is the Paulo Espino blow-ups early in the year, the Wes Parsons blow-up early in the year. Tim Meza's had a few rough outings, but that really surprised me when I saw that.
Yeah, that does not surprise me. It was a perfect example of, look, our starting pitchers are certainly doing their job. I won't say that it was a graceful start for Kevin Gausman today, but our other 3 guys between Barrios, Bassett, Kikuchi, nothing bad to say about them. Gausman is having some sort of a bounce back. But I mean, when you're in a tight ball game like that, you can't let your bullpen collapse. It reminds me of, and I hate to even bring these years up, but when we had guys like BJ Ryan as the closer for this team, and even when Aaron Loop was one of our high leverage guys, or Brett Cecil. Like they're all lefties, and they're wacky throwing lefties, and well, Jesse, you and I know how it went. Those were not very good Blue Jays teams.
They had some good years. Like Brett Cecil stuck around for the 2015 season, and he was really good that year. But yeah, for the most part, not so much. I know what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, exactly. We need more consistency. It's good to have Romano back. I really, really hope that Eric Swanson can, get more comfortable in his appearances and give us the innings that we need him to throw this year.
Yeah, because he is a very important member of the bullpen. We saw it last year. We know what Eric Swanson can be when he is on. Let's hope he can find that coming here soon. Let's talk some positives, though, Riley. We did win this series, after all, in New York. Things did go well for this Toronto Blue Jays team. So let's make sure we highlight some of the things that caught our attention. I want to throw some love, and this does kill me a little bit for as big of Danny Jansen fans that we are, but Alejandro Kirk did have a very good game, particularly in game 1 of this series. Remember in that last game against Colorado, he reached base 4 times? Well, in game 1 here, he finally got an extra base hit. He pulled a double down the line. He scored on a wild pitch, Riley. It was Alejandro Kirk's first run scored of the year. And I am impressed with which amazing, by the way. Going into this series, Kirk had 8 RBIs and not a single run scored, which I thought was wild. But I want to give him credit too. He's always been good behind the plate. He did throw out a couple base runners this series. And just how he catches Chris Bassett particularly has me in awe, because Chris Bassett, we can touch on his start too if we want here, throws 8 pitches. Like, it can't be easy to catch Chris Bassett. And the way that Kirk was doing it, and at least it looked like from being in center field, it looked like he framed a lot of those pitches that were outside of the zone that got Chris Bassett some of those extra strikes that really made his line so much better. So I just wanted to throw Alejandro Kirk a little bit of love for what he did this series.
I really appreciate Kirk's defense. And let me say this, Kirk has played a lot to start this season.
Yes. Let's give him a break now that Jansen's back.
Honestly, I know the offense drives you nuts because it drives me insane. But his defense is very good, very underrated. And him catching a pitcher like Chris Bassett in that sort of fashion and that type of a ball game where the score is really tight, and you're watching our Blue Jays hitters take all these walks and getting on base, and then you're watching basically Chris Bassett give up 6 base runners and 6 1/3. I mean, that's some good pitching. That's some good signal calling by Kirk as well. And yeah, like Jansen, I know that he was, I think, 0 for 4, had a couple.
Yeah. How do you think he looked, by the way? Like, first game back with Danny Jansen.
Not great. I think it's going to get better for him. I thought he looked uncomfortable. I thought there was one swing he got under the ball, popped it up. I don't think it would have got out. He will. One of these times, and very soon, he's going to barrel a baseball up and pull that baseball 417 feet, and hopefully there are runners on base.
Yep, I agree. It's just good to have Danny Jansen back, and I expect we'll see him quite a bit more in the San Diego series coming up. But I want to touch on the other 2 pitchers that we saw here. Yusei Kikuchi threw a gem. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. And then Kevin Gausman today, he battled through pitches a lot, but he was a lot better in this one. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Riley, I'm going to get your take on both of them, but I just want to say first, this might have been one of the best starts I've ever seen Yusei Kikuchi throw. He struck out the side in the first inning, came in and set the tone. I really thought Yusei Kikuchi was on another mission here. And also, like, his curveball took a big step forward last year. It's been even better this year. 105 average against it. People are slugging 158, and it's only a 15% hard hit rate against it. It must be that $3,000 bottle of whiskey Yusei Kikuchi brings out at the end of all of his starts. And then Kevin Gausman, Riley, we were very worried about the performance Kevin Gausman had put together coming off his, the 20-hit outburst Colorado had against him. A lot better. The velocity was up in this one. He said he wanted to throw the fastball more, and he did over 53% of the time. He threw one up to 98 on that one. First question, Riley. How worried are we about Kevin Gausman now? Because we addressed that on the last episode. And then how encouraged are you from Yusei Kikuchi coming off of these 2 starts?
Nice. Okay. So I'm going to make this a whole number 10, as in I'm 2 out of 10 worried about Kevin Gausman. I think things are improving for him. His slider usage was also really good in this game as well as the velocity way up from when it was before. I don't know what he was dealing with in his last couple outings. I won't say he was tremendous, Jesse, but he definitely gave a great effort in his start. I mean, listen, he hasn't pitched a ton of innings to begin this year. I think 5 innings is a good look. I think, and then going over to Yusei Kikuchi, I think the fact that he got to pitch that 6th inning, because he was throwing a lot of pitches, and I thought in my head, like, Schneider, do not take Kikuchi out. Like, he is dicing up these Yankees hitters, 9 strikeouts. And I don't know who gave Volpe the golden sombrero, but a 4 strikeout game for Volpe.
Yeah, that was Kikuchi's start. Yep.
It was Kikuchi's start. I know that he didn't strike him out 4 times, not seeing the guys 4 times, but the fact that he was able to neutralize the top of the order guys and keep them at bay, like, I mean, and keep the control. I think the thing with Kikuchi when we first got a hold of this guy might have been the control issues. I mean, when you're striking out 9 guys, there's the possibility that there might be some walks in there, and only gave up 1 walk in the 6 innings he pitched well. I love it, Jesse. I will totally go along with, this is one of the best starts I've seen Kikuchi pitch as well.
Yeah, me too. Very encouraged. And if you even look over his last calendar year, like, fill in the blank, Riley. Yusei Kikuchi is a top blank starting pitcher in Major League Baseball.
He's okay. Well, it's tough to say. So teams have 5 starting pitchers. So I'm going to say for sure he's a top 25 pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Okay, so you think he could be like the ace of, like, well, obviously the Colorado Rockies, but like is he the ace on the White Sox right now? Probably, right?
I mean, I don't even know who we haven't went down to the South Side or played them, so I don't even know who the hell pitches for the White Sox right now. I will not lie. I'm not.
Mike Soroka, Eric Fetty, like, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. KBO's pitcher of the year, Eric Fetty, mind you.
Yes.
And poor Mike Soroka, Canadian Mike Soroka, whose career has sadly gone downhill. Yeah. Either way, Kikuchi has a great staff around him, and Yusei Kikuchi on his own has developed, not as a young guy. He came in the league as a veteran to start with the Mariners. We signed him, and he's developing at whatever age he is now, 30, 32, 33. I think he's 32. He's looked fantastic to start this year. I predict more or less of the same. Maybe the walks. Maybe we get a game where he does walk 4 guys.
Yeah, which he is prone to. Yep. It's
just part of his game, man. Love to see the strikeouts numbers. Love anytime we can get 6 innings out of Yusei Kikuchi as well.
Mm-hmm. Riley, you want to talk some base running?
Oh man, we're gonna have to. It's not necessarily one of my favorite things. And we talked pre-show, and we didn't even mention one of the things that drove me more nuts than anything else. But Jesse, I'll bring that in. You start talking about what you want to talk about with base running.
Interesting. I'm curious to see what you saw this series then, which came up to. But I wanted to point out the Blue Jays in games 2 and 3 in the series stole 5 bags. Like, that's impressive. The Blue Jays, we talked at the start of the season how they were barely stealing any bases. They were doing a bunch of that. Daulton Varshos and Ernie Clement actually pulled off a double steal in this one. And then Justin Turner decided to try to get those 39-year-old legs moving. He got caught stealing. I think it's now twice in the past 5 days, which is more than Justin Turner has got caught stealing in the past 5 years for Justin Turner. So he was asked about it post-game after game 2, and he's just like, I got the sign to run, so I ran, which I don't know why the Blue Jays are giving Justin Turner the steal sign. That seems dumb, but hey, to each their own. And then the Blue Jays, they got picked off a little bit today. Bo Bichette got picked off at one point in this game. I think it was reviewed and overturned, so I'm misremembering that. I don't know. And Ernie Clement actually made a great play sliding into third base. I love the swim move slide, Riley. It's one of my favorite plays in baseball. When the ball clearly beats the guy, but he makes such an elusive tag to get in there and get safe. Ernie Clement did it in the series, and I wanted to give them props. But what was your base running take from the Blue Jays this series?
You were 100% wrong, because the pickoff on Bo Bichette was certainly not overturned.
Yeah, okay. So I was thinking of something else then. Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. I wish it was. Unfortunately, it's getting too big the situation was he was getting far too big of a lead, and he had the pitcher timed up, but just took, I would say, 3 too many steps and tried to scurry back to the base, and he was a dead duck. And
right.
I hate to see it. Like, I get we started the year so passive on the base pass, especially with the stealing bases. And now I don't know if we're being too over aggressive. Guys have gotten their legs warmed up. Justin Turner does not need to be caught stealing. Bo Bichette does not need to be picked off first base. I mean, there are fundamentals in the game of baseball. I know that a team that can steal bases is more prone to getting, obviously, runners in scoring position for one. it's gonna create more runs. We just can't afford this giving up free outs essentially.
Yeah, let's talk a little Bo Bichette here too, because to start game 2, he made a throw that he got bailed out. That Vladdy made a great tag on him too. Can you tell me when Bo Bichette's last extra base hit was? Oh, I think he got one today. Didn't he hit a double off the wall? Yeah, he got one today. But before today,
Before
can
that,
you tell me when it was? Yeah.
Opening series.
No, he did hit a home run. It's whenever he hit his home run, but it was on the road. No, I think it was at home against Seattle. He did hit his home run, but that's 6 or 7 games for Bo Bichette too. And he is literally just a league average bat right now. In fact, no, sorry, he's below league average, WRC plus of 82. And the defensive numbers have taken a sharp decline for Bo Bichette. So I don't think either of us are worried yet, but we need to see better play from Bo Bichette going forward.
Bo Bichette is an accumulator, accumulates hits, accumulates runs, RBIs. He's that kind of guy. He's not a baseball savant darling type guy. I love the plate discipline. That's a huge change. But I will not stand for a Bo Bichette in third in the lineup that's, hitting the numbers he is. Now, I bet you, Jesse, that is going to change at some part. And we could walk into Petco Park for the weekend series, and Bo Bichette could be 2 for 12 and whatever. And then he could go the next series hitting 250. But we're going to see either a slow or a sharp increase in how he plays. He's going to find outfield grass on his hits. He's going to get some more BABIP, some more luck. And I think it's only a matter of time. Now, the power, the home runs, the doubles. I mean, I don't know what Bo Bichette's ceiling is for home runs, but we know the extra base potential. It's the doubles. Yeah, is it going to be a double? Is it going to be a home run? I would love to see a Bo Bichette, a double to all fields type guys. He pulls baseballs. He slaps them the other way. I mean, in this series, Jesse, alone, I don't know how many full counts he saw, but I know there was a lot of 2-strike counts at Bo Bichette's special where he's staying alive, fouling off 3 or 4 pitches. I think that's very important. And it shows that he has the vision, but he has to be able to put the ball in play for his game to work, because we did not see that in this series.
Yeah, I want to see some more production from Bo Bichette. I don't think any of us are worried yet, but let's keep some tabs on it. A few more things, maybe just minor things that caught my attention this series. I thought Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did place a very good defensive first base. And I thought our pitchers as well, Kikuchi and Bassett, both defended the pitching spot well, which, hey, they're good defenders. Makes sense. And yeah, keep an eye. Kikuchi did look like he pulled something in his side. Maybe it was just a cramp, but the trainers did come out. So I do want to mention that as well. David Schneider would have thrown a guy out at the plate, but Danny Jansen simply just dropped the ball. So, that happened. And I wanted to give Kevin Gausman a good shout out. 10 years of service for Kevin Gausman. Now in the big leagues, we gave George Springer his props when he finally made it to 10 years of service. So a hearty mazel tov, I guess, to Kevin Gausman for being there, being part of baseball's true inner circles. And last one, Kevin Biggio, his hit streak ends at a modest 9 game. He went 0 for 2 today and was removed for Ernie Clement, so he did not get a hit. His hit streak ends at 9 games. Did you have a quick thought on any of those or anything to look forward to going forward?
I was very disappointed in Jansen's mishap because it was such a good defensive play by a guy that I didn't think had a chance to throw him out. The other one, I want to talk about defense. This was IKF at second base. The ball in Kikuchi's start, a ball line drive went off of Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s glove on the backhand side of first base. The ball was then barehanded picked up to a sprinting Yusei Kikuchi in a beautiful play, Jesse. The play I'm
impressive,
talking about.
Very impressive. Yep.
A 3 to 4 to 1 put out to first, something you do not see a lot in the game of baseball. And it was just one of those things where you go, wow, like Vladdy, you got to applaud the effort. Number 2, Kiner Falefa making that effort. And then Kikuchi to have the baseball IQ, the athleticism, the awareness, knowing where to go. His step, he was running, but his step was perfect. He was fantastic in the start. I know that the defense isn't always flawless. I know Bo had made some mistakes, Jansen as well, but overall, I am quite happy about a lot of things, a lot of good takeaways in this series. Maybe not so much the base running, but certainly if the majority of the pitchers, the hitters who came up and showed some good plate discipline, and the defense coming up in big ways as well.
Yep, good things to be encouraged from all going around. I wanted to throw some love too to Genesis Cabrera. He gave up a home run today, but he did look solid in his 2 innings. So I know we talked about the rest of the relievers, but I wanted to throw some love his way. And Riley, hitters and runners in scoring position. I want you to try to guess before I read out the numbers. What do you think the Blue Jays' average was with runners in scoring position in this series?
Well, this is going to be a tough one because the number of runners in scoring position we had was pretty big. I'm going to say, but we didn't score a ton of runs.
31 was the amount of at-bats we had with runners in scoring position.
I'm going to say we hit 232.
129 with runners in scoring position this series.
129. Yeah. And I thought I was going to be, I thought you were going to give me crap and you'd be like, no, 284. Geez, I'm 100 points off and I did a low freaking number. That is not impressive. It's great that we got the win, the series win. But I mean, Jesse, we could have a podcast just called Runners in Scoring Position with less than 2 outs. That we just talk about teams that can't cash
where we strike out
what? Yeah. What? Guys not putting. Yeah, I think there are 3 guys could shoot down with. You didn't put the ball in play. You didn't put the ball in play. You didn't put the
Ernie
ball
Clement in this series, for example, came in with a runner on third and 1 out.
Kevin Kiermaier, man. Kiermaier.
It happened quite frequently. And we should make like some type of drinking game or something we can do called how many leadoff doubles can this team hit that don't come around to score? And we do a giveaway or something. We should start keeping track of this because it seems wild that this happens more to the Blue Jays than anyone else.
I think it could be a very interesting thing. It could go hand in hand with a game like how many jelly beans in the jar? How many of these situations are we going to be faced with?
Yeah, it's very true. And look, that game ticked us today off too. We were not very thrilled about that, but a series win against the New York Yankees always makes us very happy. Riley, I got some reports down on the farm. You want to get excited about some prospects, huh?
Yeah, I would like to note, Jesse, that I have not paid attention to anything Buffalo or New Hampshire related. So give me some good news. Give me something good.
Great. Well, I only have 2 reports here, but the first one is, so I take it you didn't see what Orelvis Martinez did today, did you?
That might be the only thing. Yes, he put a baseball into orbit. I know that.
469 feet for a grand slam in extra basis for extra innings. Sorry. And yeah, he is now on a 10-game hit streak for Orelvis Martinez. I haven't looked up his stats. I'll look him up a little later, but I'm sure they're good if you're hitting bombs like that and a 10-game hit streak. Remember, the kid is only 22 years old, and it seems like he's really coming into his own here. And Domingo Palmegiani, and Riley, yes, I did pronounce that correctly there, hit a double dong himself today. He had 2 home runs in Buffalo, and that goes on line with Will Robertson's having a very good season in there too, and Addison Barger is having a very good season for the Buffalo Bisons. In fact, their offense might be second best in AAA, just behind the Norfolk Tides and what Baltimore is doing. So the Blue Jays, look, on paper, their offense should be fine, but in theory, it has not been so great. There are guys coming up that might put some pressure on some of these players who are not performing that well.
It is really good to, you know what? And Orelvis Martinez is pretty close. I think Barger is a guy who could be a great platoon guy. I don't know what Biggio's future is like with the Toronto Blue Jays. But Barger, Biggio, I can see some comps in there. Maybe one's more of a freer swinger, but more power with Barger, more power potential. Same type of guy. Hey, look, we love our utility guys, from our John McDonald's to our Ryan Goins.
Blue Jays fans always have.
I think Barger could be one of those guys. And if Orelvis Martinez, if he has the ability to play everyday second base, and we've seen some contracts on the Jays expire. 24-year-old Orelvis Martinez could very well be the everyday second baseman for the Blue Jays. I actually wouldn't doubt it.
All right, well, that's all I've got for this series against the New York Yankees. Always good, no matter when you play them, to get wins within your division, and the Blue Jays were able to do that this series. The Blue Jays have an off day on Thursday before we get on a plane. We make the longest flight possible for the Blue Jays to make, and that is going from Toronto down to see Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, and the San Diego Padres. We don't go to San Diego that often. In fact, I don't even really remember what happened last time we went to San Diego. I remember JP Arancibia was catching a game in San Diego, and that might be my last memory of the Jays in San Diego. So do you have a series prediction, a pick to click, something you're really watching for in this series on the West Coast?
Ooh, okay. So I have a want and a hope. First of all, we got a Barrios start in there. I'm not sure which day. Whether
and a Yariel Rodriguez start, I might point out.
Yariel Friday, and then we go to Barrios for Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. And I'm as good as I think Rodriguez will be, and I hope he does well. Man, Barrios has been electric this year, and I know that the Padres have a very good offense. The National League West is basically, I think it's the next best division behind the American League East. I really do. And I've thought that for quite some time. I think the Padres' record also over the past couple of years does not reflect their ball club. I don't want to give too much credit to San Diego. I think they have very good players. As much as I don't really like a Manny Machado, he can hurt you in so many different ways. It's a team we got to be careful with. If for us to walk out of there and win 2 out of 3, I think it's going to be great. I think if we can go, Jesse, and you and I come back here on Sunday and do the same thing we did tonight and talk about another 2 out of 3, I think we're in a pretty good mood, and I think the vibes are pretty high.
It's going to be a good battle. We got to face Dylan Cease. We're going to face former Blue Jay Joe Musgrove, and we're going to see a knuckleballer, Riley, as Matt Waldron takes the mound for San Diego in Game 1 of this series. Couldn't tell you the last time the Toronto Blue Jays faced a knuckleballer. I feel like we've had more knuckleballers than faced knuckleballers. Maybe, honestly, it's been since Tim Wakefield, or maybe the odd time we ran up against Dickey when he was in the Mets or something. I feel like it's been a long time since the Blue Jays have seen a knuckleballer. So that'll be interesting, and let's hope it doesn't mess up the Blue Jays swings too much. But in terms of my pick to click, a player I really want to see, I'm seeing a lot of righties on the mound for that team. I'm thinking lefties who can crush them well. I'm going to go with a big series for Cavan Biggio. I really think he's had a steady, nice little hot start. I think the home run comes back in this series, and he has a nice little series going forward.
I would like to see that as well. And maybe Kiermaier does see the bench a little bit more. Maybe Varshos sees center field, center field, or something along those lines. I really hope Varsho continues to keep this up. I think he only has 2 doubles on the year, maybe 2 more doubles on the series to bring his home run and double total to an even 4 each, and some timely RBIs. We figure this. Daulton Varshos probably isn't hitting in the top 5 at any point in this series. So let's hope that he, at the bottom of the order, can get some runs driven in. I mean, obviously, a grand slam, that's the best way to drive runs in. I wouldn't expect a grand slam, too often, especially with a guy like Varsho, but it's nice to get those clutch RBIs.
All right, so if you're a late nighter like I am, we love these games on the West Coast, and it'll be a lot of Jays in 30 for Jays fans out on the East Coast. That'll be the end of our show today. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for everyone who left a comment along the way. We'll be sure to interact with you and stick around with us all season. As Riley said, we will be back Sunday night to recap these series against the San Diego Padres, hopefully recapping what is our 4th straight series win for the boys in blue. Always a good time to get out west, Riley. Any last words before we run out of here today?
No, listen, the game didn't go our way today. You give up 4 runs in the 9th inning. We can't afford to do things like that. And I know that, Jesse, pitchers are going down all over the place. Knock on wood and thank your lucky stars for good health this season, because it is a pandemic with starting pitchers and injuries this year. So I hope that the luck is with us, because our starting pitching staff is one of the best in baseball. And I think our bullpen will improve as this season goes on.
Agreed. Too many good guys, too many talented guys in there for that not to happen. So I am with you as well. We actually had a streak in this series too, where we went 4 straight hitless relief appearances from our bullpen. But that's beside the point. For Riley McConnell, I am Jesse Burrell. We'll see you on Sunday night. In the meantime, happy Jackie Robinson Day for everyone out there listening, and let's go Blue Jays.
Thanks, guys.